Don't you miss the sweet slumbers you fell into as a child? Neend app helps you recreate that magic with well-crafted exclusive sleep stories, guided meditations, and calming music to lull you into the restful sleep you need. Our offerings are all ad-free, approved by experts, and have helped more than 90% of our listeners fall asleep as quick as within 15 minutes after tuning into our app. Download the app for more sleeping aids and subscribe to the channel.
Hi, I'm Ankita, and today we start our journey in a train as we travel across verdant landscapes, making our way to gods. Before we begin, make yourself comfortable in your favorite position for falling asleep. Switch off all lights and close your eyes. Take a slow, full, deep breath and let go. It's time to set the world aside, let go of your day, and begin your gentle transition into sleep. Take another slow, full, deep breath and breathe out any tension in your body. All there is to do now is relax, rest, and be restored. You are in bed now, feeling your body relax from the day. Beginning with your feet, allow all the tension to go out of them now. They have worked hard for you all day and deserve a rest. And so, the relaxation in your feet begins to find its way into your ankles, your calves, and your knees. And now, relax your upper legs, your hips, and feel this relaxation flowing up into your abdomen and lower back, and your upper back and chest. And feel this peaceful, relaxing feeling flowing down your arms, into your hands, and out your fingertips, and then up into your neck, head, and face. Now, your whole body is perfectly calm, relaxed, and ready for sleep. Soon, you'll be sound asleep, off on a peaceful journey into dreamland that will carry you all the way through until morning. So, as you continue to listen to the story, begin to follow your breath. Relax your entire body and settle in for a wonderful sleep experience. The frogs leap out of the cold crystal pond and sit on the lily pads, croaking together, watching the sunset over the horizon. Their high-pitched whirring mingles with the bubbling of the stream, taking you to a magical world of their own. Dragonflies buzz around, fluttering their iridescent blue-green wings as they glide around the shallow waters. Meanwhile, on a tree beside the pond, Anu, a forest fairy, stretches her arms to the sky, rubs her eyes, and then shakes her wings as she awakes from her afternoon nap. She watches curiously from a small hole in the tree and stares inquisitively at the frogs sitting together and humming tunes while fishes swim in circles inside the pond. The sight of the frogs always amused Anu. They were about the same size as her and loved playing in ponds and lying on lily pads, watching time go by. The water lilies dances to the wind, and the air has a strong, earthy smell from the afternoon rain. All of nature seems to be calling Anu, so she decides to go out for a stroll earlier than usual while you lie down on the moss and watch her. Excited for her evening flight, Anu makes her way to the pond, twirling her wings in the air as she majestically dives into the water, causing a large splash. The fish scurries away while Anu lies flat on the water, floating lazily while she watches the clouds pass by. You find beautiful shapes in the cloud, for they are said to be nature's work of art. You see a giraffe, or perhaps a flower, maybe even a magical being. That cloud is beautiful, is it not? A toad hops away, pointing to a cloud that resembles a butterfly. That one looks a bit like you, she replies, pointing to a giant pink cloud that looks a lot like a cotton candy toad. The sky is like a beautiful pastel painting, and the clouds of oddly different shapes intrigue both of them, so you can barely hear them. As the toad leaves, Anu flies out from the water, shakes profusely to dry herself, and makes her way to the water lilies, where a frog is sitting on a lily pad, blowing air bubbles out of the water and avidly watches them pop. She sits down next to the little green amphibian and decides to pose a challenge to her new little friend. Want to see who manages to make the largest blob by throwing a pebble? Anu challenges the frog. You bet, he says, hopping around excitedly. He picks up a pebble, throws it into the pond with all his strength, and springs with pride as they watch the stone fall into the waters with one of the most giant blobs you have ever seen. Bet you can't beat that, he croaks excitedly with joy at his skill. Of course I can, Anu replies, smiling as she makes her way to the reeds in pursuit of a good stone. Of course I can, Anu replies. A large pebble almost twice her size catches her attention, and she decides to pick it up. She manages to carry it but struggles to stand up, and thus she wobbles around awkwardly until she accidentally steps on some moss and slips right into the pond. The frog croaks in amusement as she gets out of the water covered in moss and algae. The water is cold, but she rather likes the chilly feeling it brings to her. The feeling of the water sliding down her wings and the warmth of the sand was oddly comforting to Anu. And despite the frog's laughter, she jumps back in the water for a swim. The frog joins her, and together they dive into the little pond and try to chase fishes and tadpoles as they run away from her. She gets out of the water for a gasp of breath and decides to go back to floating on the surface. Finally, she makes her way around the rocks and sits down to rest while watching the snails gently make their way on the rocks, leaving behind a slimy trail that made it look like someone had drawn something with clear ink over the stones. It is getting colder now, and her newly found frog friend has to leave. So Anu decides to fly out the water and make her way to the trees. Anu sits down on the branch of the tree and shakes her wings to dry herself. Her clothes are all damp and her hair is covered with moss, but she rather likes the look. She sits down for a bit, all worn out from her swim, and watches the leaves rustle to the wind. You sit there with her, admiring the view and listening to the forest as it slowly shuts down for the evening. The sound of the wind slipping through the trees keeps the both of you company while she sits there, taking a minute to hit pause and breathe from all that work. The sun has almost disappeared, and the sky is now a beautiful shade of scarlet. She watches the birds fly in the sky, curiously wondering where they could be heading. Their constant chirping brings a smile to Anu's face. They fly with joy, flapping their wings with pride and singing their tunes together as they make their way across the beautiful cotton candy sky. The sight of them flying makes Anu wish to fly, so she stands up to warm up for a quick flying session. She takes 2 deep breaths, jumps from the tree, and opens her wings just before she hits the ground and flaps them while she laughs with glee as she makes her way to the skies. The Western Ghats is beautiful from above. It looks like a painting with verdant landscapes of different shades of green paint all over. You see the different shades of green and can hear the faint sound of elephants marching or the yawns of the wild animals as they head back to their homes. The sight of the trees, the streams, and the waterfall from above is the most magical feeling ever to exist. And Anu loves and cherishes every bit. She feels the wind in her hair as she flutters her wings on the lookout for a new journey. The air is cold and you feel the cool breeze carry you through the skies. It is pretty dark now, and all traces of the sun have vanished, and the moon begins to make its way to its home in the skies. The arrival of the moon signals a new day to the forest fairy community. The darker it gets, the more fairies come out of their hiding to begin their magic in the forest. It is time now, and you see about 50 fairies fly out of their homes in the trees and make their way through the woods. They look like shiny orbs of light from the skies and make you look with awe as you watch them running about. Anu watches the forest fairies come out of their hiding in the trees and make their way all around the forest. Thrilled to see her friends were finally awake for their travels, she makes her way down and greets them with waves and smiles. Some of them are sprinting around picking wild berries and flowers to feast on later, while others are preparing for their flight to explore the different parts of the forest. The sight of the berries reminds Anu of the growling in her stomach, so she joins in walking around looking for wild berries. She makes her way to the bushes on the lookout for wild berries, while the fruity aroma makes her hungrier. She loves the crinkle the fallen leaves make as she steps on them. So she makes it a point to jump on dry leaves and twigs to listen to it snap. The wild berries were quite a delicacy amongst the fairy community, and she makes sure to pick up the ripest and the most giant berry as she could find, and eagerly sit down on a rock, taking a large bite of the fruit, enjoying the sweet sour taste of the berries and its fruity scent. You sit down with her, watching the stars in the sky and enjoying the sweet aroma of the berry plants nearby. The sight of Anu and the scene around you intrigues you. Anu is too busy devouring the berry, and just as she is about to take another bite, she notices a familiar face coming her way. Anu, he greets, excitedly flapping his wings. Want to go explore the forest for a bit? He asks, shaking his head in anticipation. Anu would never say no to an opportunity to explore the magical, mysterious ghats and the many secrets it had hidden deep inside, for there's no telling who or what you would run into there. "Of course," she replies. "I've already flown around and had quite a swim." "How about a walk into the calming woods?" she questions. Bhav nods in agreement, and together they begin walking in one direction. Anu and Bhav have been friends ever since the forest fairies moved into the ghats. They met one warm sunny day near a waterfall where Bhav was busy collecting river rocks, while Anu was trying to somersault on one of the turtle's back. She could still remember the day as if it was yesterday. "Want to race to the top of the waterfall?" she remembers asking Bhav. She always loved a challenge. He agreed, and together they stood at the foot of the waterfalls and counted to 3, after which they zoomed as fast as they could, flapping their wings with everything they have got as they raced across the roaring waters right to the top of the waterfall. Anu reached first and danced in the air, rejoicing, for she had won, as a worn-out Bhav made his way next to her, trying to catch his breath. That was the start of a great friendship, and as they make their way through the woods, Anu is reminded of the view from above and the tired but happy look Bhav had on his face as Anu danced around happily from the victory of their race. Today, it is a beautiful crescent moon and about 6 stars were shining beautifully in the black sky. It is dark now, but it did not matter, for the fairies were mystical beings and light emanated from their bodies. It may be night, but the truth is, that is when the magic truly begins, for the forest never sleeps. You can hear the soft, serene sounds of the nightingales singing on the trees as you make your way through the woods. They continue their singing as they fly around the woods, probably looking for a companion. Anu and Bhav hop around, dancing to their tunes. Now and then they stop to admire a flower or a mushroom and eagerly pick them up to take back home as a memory. They were just about to run to the other side when a soft golden glow stemming from one side of the woods caught their attention. "Fireflies," they gasped in unison. It wasn't rare to find fireflies in this part of the woods, but its magical sight always brought in a feeling of wonder and awe. Bhav and Anu sit down on a large rock and watch them as they fly around. Time passes by slowly as they watch the fireflies illuminate the grasslands with a soft, lustrous glow. Together, they get up and walk through the fireflies, watching them fly away as they get closer. Soon every last one of them disappears into the fields, leaving only a warm smile on Bhav and Anu's faces. It is dark again, and the only light is from Anu and Bhav's mystical fairy glow. "It is silent now," Bhav whispers. "Not if you listen closely," Anu replies. Bhav closes his eyes as he tries to listen to the sounds of the woods and soon finds that Anu is right. The woods have a chilly feel to them. The air has an earthy, woody smell to it, and somewhere you could hear a wild animal yawn. The grasslands appear to be empty, but hiding under its tall blades lie an orchestra of crickets and cicadas, all chirping their way through the night. Their night calls fill the air while Pav and Anu fly around the open field looking for beautiful flowers to pick. Somewhere a stream is flowing, and occasionally you can hear an owl hoot. A new world with its own stories was wide awake in that silence. Anu and Pav make their way to the other fairies, their hands full of different mushrooms and flowers. They're worn out from their walking and want nothing more than to go home and rest. It is midnight now. The pond beside Anu's home in the trees is empty now, except for the sound of fishes swimming around. The skies are clear and there is not a bird in sight. Anu and Pav part ways, and Anu flies back to her tiny hole in the trees. She takes the flowers and mushrooms she collected and decorates her room, remembering her flight today. They will dry up tomorrow, but it did not matter because she knew that tomorrow holds new adventures for her, and there are a million more places to explore.